Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as he's done for 8 years and counting, he's the man who's known as the statistician to the stars, a man of 1,008 aliases. His name is Padawan J.
Oh, let me talk to you.
And boy, we have a lot to talk about in the whole parlay of topics universe. Because there's been a little stuff here, there's a little bit of stuff there, there's a little bit of stuff everywhere.
A little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, if you will. So we're going to do a fusion edition of the show and kind of break down a lot of topics in a small amount of time, because that's what we do here at the ODPH. And we definitely like to interact with you, the ODPH Society. So Pat, after the show, where does everybody go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
From the TeePublic Store link to the social media links to the blogs to the friends of the show under the classified section, which is 3FN Podcast, Trackmaster Games, Nerd Nation, and many more. A directory. Pat, how many providers are we on?
405,796.
And your source?
Trust me, bro.
So wherever you listen to the ODPH on, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. Leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher. It helps the algorithm of the show. That's what I'm getting told, so I go with it. Last but certainly not least, check out the music section of the show, because we got some great bands up there like Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Second Suitor, Tom Jolu, Floodlands, and Shout at the Robots. All have music you want to go download and have at your summer festivities this year, because, hey, they're great musicians, they're great people, we support them, they support us, boom, that's how it's done. And if I forgot anything else, because, hey, we talk about a lot of things here at the ODPH, ODPHpodcast.com, and if you're still using hashtags on social media, why not use the hashtag ODPHpod? Pat, what are we kicking off this episode
We're going
with?
to talk a little WWE. You got
Sounds good to me.
A few things going on. Of course, you do have the upcoming PLE, or pay-per-view, coming up not this Saturday, following Saturday, June 28th to be specific, Night of Champions. Now, this is taking place from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at the Kingdom Arena. So there is the special start time of 1 p.m. Eastern here in the United States on the East Coast on the Peacock. Check your local listings and your local broadcasting partner where it's going to be on in your area. But you got a couple of things going on for this pay-per-view. Most notably, the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments.
Yes, so this one obviously has got a lot of implications for title contenders. Really amping up the stakes with it, which I like, because this tournament has been around for many years. I know it's kind of come back into prominence over the past couple.
Yep.
But it's a great showcase to get somebody from that mid-card level to the main event level, in my opinion. And they do have some storylines going around with this. So, Pat, let's break down what we got so far.
Yeah, so the caveat with this is, you are king or queen of the ring if you win your bracket. And the caveat with this is once you win that, you get a title opportunity at the champion of your brand. SmackDown challenges SmackDown, Raw challenges Raw, so on and so forth. And I know the one complaint a lot of folks have had online is, oh, why are they doing Fatal 4-Ways? Feel like it takes away from the mystique and the aura of the tournament. Well, yeah, maybe to a certain degree. The caveat with that is, I love saying caveat today. Yeah. It started with like a little over a month to go. It started like in the early part of June. Looks like the first matches took place on June 9th on Monday Night Raw. Folks, the pay-per-view takes place this same month, June 28th. So they didn't exactly have time to really drag it out 2-on-2, 3-on-3s, whatever they wanted to do before they got to the end there. A little time crunch going on, but first couple matches you had the Fatal 4-Way, where Sami Zayn defeated Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Breaker. Then you had Randy Orton defeat L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Carmelo Hayes and Aleister Black. So that is one part of the semifinals matchup. You had Cody Rhodes defeat Andrade, Damian Priest, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Then you had main event Jey Uso defeat Bronson Reed, Rusev, and Sheamus. I don't know how I feel about Jey Uso getting inserted into this. I understand it from the aspect of he was just the world title holder, lost it to Gunther, not this week, last week. I understand it from the certain perspective, but you put him in that match and he comes out on top. I don't know. Just not 100% sold on that for me.
Well, I think we gotta have to put something into perspective here.
Okay.
We do know that on Monday Night Raw, the internet speculation that had been going around for Saturday night's main event in July
Oh, Lord.
had come true.
The one time I wish the dirt sheets were wrong.
Right. I think a lot of us do.
Ugh.
Because it was announced that Goldberg, yes, that Goldberg, is going to be having a match against Gunther for the world title at Saturday night's main event in Atlanta.
Presumably his last, if you read his shirt.
Well, yes, they're definitely signing it off as his retirement match.
In case you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the footage. Gunther. Goldberg is wearing a shirt that says Goldberg's last ride.
Yeah.
So presumably this is his retirement match.
Well, I think so, because obviously Father Time is caught up with him.
He's also like 60.
Well, that's the whole point. It's caught up with him. Last time we saw him in the ring, he struggled to walk down the ring. Remember, he infamously pulled his hamstring going to the ring to face Drew McIntyre.
He's almost 60. He's 58. He turns 59 in December.
Right. So this is a good way to send him off, I guess.
Sure.
At this stage, I understand why WWE is doing this.
Sure.
It's ratings. There is a fan base that still follows him.
I get it from the perspective of they're doing this on free TV.
Yeah. Which
this is gonna be on Peacock, yes, here in the States, but it's also going to be on, for those of you for overseas, I believe it's going to be on YouTube or something. But for those of you who aren't stateside here in the States, this is going to be on NBC, which you don't need a special cable package to get a hold of. Anybody with just your standard cable package can get a hold of. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on this to begin with, but then you start marketing the fact like, hey, Goldberg's going to be on this. You're going to get a lot of folks who might not be watching these days or might be quote unquote lapsed fans because we're not in WrestleMania season going, oh, wait a minute. I know Goldberg. Why don't I tune that in to see him one more time?
Well, it's nostalgia points. It's going to try doing something to boost the rating. I fully think now that's why they pulled the title from Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Because for his last match, they don't want him booed out of the building.
Yeah.
And especially Jey Uso is not going to get booed by any stretch of the imagination, not right now.
No.
So I understand why they made the move. Putting him in the tourney, I guess, is a good reset per se.
Sure.
But at the same time, I agree with you. I don't think they should have done it.
No.
I think this was a prime moment for a Karrion Kross.
Yes.
I think if you wanted, even as a long shot, Mr. Iguana.
Hell yeah.
You could have done somebody else in this spot, because now you're in a very weird bracket setup. Mm-hmm. Because obviously coming out of the Fatal 4-Ways, which I don't mind these matches at all. They've all been main event worthy on the respective shows.
Yeah.
Putting Jay in this, now he's on a title collision course against Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins this, he's going to be facing the winner of Sami Zayn and Randy Orton.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot of storylines you can do, and it's either going to come down to one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be Jey Uso defeats Cody Rhodes for reasons, and Sami Zayn defeats Randy Orton, and then that's your matchup, because that's a storyline right there. Best friends fighting each other.
Yep, they don't want to do it, but they're forced to.
Right, so when they have to fight each other, it's just not going to pan out.
Yeah.
The other matchup that is the only one you can do is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes.
Which is one we've wanted to see since Cody returned to WWE, but it hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. So I think that that's the way they're going to go.
I think so, too.
And I also think they're going to do something weird involving it with Seth Rollins' faction, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they don't have a name.
They're going to take out Jey Uso for Cody. Because if you notice, there was that kind of weird respect thing going on with Seth.
Yeah.
On Monday night, because at the end of the match, it turned into...
turned into Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
It got weird.
Yeah, the internet was calling it Bloodline Rules. I forget who said it. I will give you credit if you tag us. Anyway, literally, you had that. It was the Endgame moment.
I think I even... that Endgame moment was just weird, because I remember in our group chat messaging everybody at, like, when that whole... Because you got the Fatal 4-Way going on with Bronson Reed, Jay, Rusev, and Sheamus, and then... Braun Breaker and Braun Breaker shows up, and then Sami Zayn shows up, and then Penta shows up, and then I messaged you. I'm like, what the bleep is going on here?
Yeah. So it is kind of tricky in that aspect, but I think now they kind of tip their hand a little bit.
Yeah, it could be.
That Seth is maybe trying to get Cody to join them, which he could be. I mean, we don't know how the storyline is going to play.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, though, they're going to be the ones responsible for costing Jay that opportunity.
Probably.
And that's a good storyline for Jay to go after Seth. I don't have an issue with that at all. So if they want to play it that way, that makes sense. And I think Cody versus Randy is a great headline match that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Sammy unless Jay wins. if that makes sense. Because
No, it
I
does.
just don't think the pairings match up.
Well, we're going to know which one takes place sooner because if I'm not mistaken, the Randy Sami Zayn match is taking place Friday.
Yeah.
So if Sammy wins Friday, I agree with you. That's tipping their hand that Jay's going to win on Monday.
Oh, completely. So we'll see how that shakes up. But I'm going to say right now, I'm taking Cody and Randy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
Then you get to the Queen of the Rings side of the bracket and tournament, and again, this works the same way. Raw challenges Raw champion, SmackDown challenges SmackDown champion. The first round, you had the Fatal 4-Way matchups where Roxanne Perez defeated Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Kairi Sane. Then you had Jade Cargill defeat Mi Chin, Nia Jax, and Piper Niven. So that's one half of your semifinals matchup, and then the other one was Alexa Bliss defeating Alba Fire, Candice LeRae, and Charlotte Flair. And then Asuka defeating Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie Vaquer. So your other final matchup is Alexa Bliss versus Asuka. Side note, Asuka's back.
Yes.
Yay.
Amazing.
Asuka's got her old CFO theme song.
Yeah.
Win.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of win with her back. And the fact that she got further in this tournament, this makes it a true wild card, in my opinion. Because unlike the men's bracket, the women's one is wide open. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily know who's going to come out of that per se.
I'm all right with any of these four.
Oh, I am too. But I think you have to lean more into the Roxanne Perez and Jade Cargill bracket.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
Because I really say with somebody getting a title shot, I think that's going to be a moment to get somebody up there.
Sure.
And I would not doubt if Jade Cargill wins this.
Right.
And she does go to cash in her title shot, that's when Naomi comes in to take it. I wouldn't doubt that.
I could see it.
Because I think with Asuka, yeah, she comes back, and then her and Alexa, that's going to be an interesting dynamic going on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't necessarily know if they're trying to pair Alexa with Charlotte as like a tag team.
Maybe.
I've seen a lot of videos pop up on the TikTok, if you will. And I've seen a lot of theories going around with it, and some people are not wrong about this the more I'm looking at it. But
Right.
I guess I kind of struggle with a little bit.
Sure.
Is why? Just
something to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for as much as Triple H has said, oh, we don't pay attention to what the internet says, we just do what's right for business. I think they are paying attention to it in a certain aspect, case in point, Ron Killings. But I think also the thing I see a lot is people complaining how every time Charlotte comes back, every time she's in a program, it's in the main event, in the main event, in the main event. So... And I kind of count myself among those. I like seeing Charlotte. I like watching her wrestle, but Jesus H, you know what? I don't need to see her in a title picture every freaking program she's in. If it's something different, if you want to have her go for the tag belts with Alexa Bliss or whoever it is, fine. If you want to have her go for the U.S. title, okay. If you want to have her switch brands and go for the Intercontinental title, okay. I'm fine with that, but just... I'm a little fatigued of Charlotte constantly going for and getting main event title opportunities.
Well, I think with her pedigree, you have to have her in that main
card
sure. level. So, I mean, it makes sense. But I think the whole dynamic about her in the tag team titles, that is very, very puzzling to me.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think that they know what they're doing with a lot of the tag teams in WWE right now, which is strange. Even though SmackDown has an amazing division that nobody is talking about.
Well, and of course now the women's tag team titles are kind of up in the air until we find out in thoughts and well wishes with the Liv Morgan situation.
Right.
Which we know she dislocated her shoulder,
yes,
shoulder on Monday Night Raw. I have not seen or heard anything since as to the severity and if she will be out for any length of time. So that'll be interesting to see play out. And could that potentially play a factor into how this tournament goes? Maybe.
Well, that's going to be a real storyline to watch. And like I say, because in theory, it was setting up for Liv Morgan to take on Nikki Bella at Evolution.
Which, yeah.
Now, I don't know what they necessarily would do there.
Yeah.
But with Liv's storyline with the tag team titles, yeah, that's going to be up in the air depending on the severity of her injury. It was enough that they immediately stopped the match.
I mean, could they easily, we're going to plug Raquel Rodriguez in? Yeah, you could, but I don't know if I necessarily, buy that. It seems like it'd be a squash match. What you could do is you got Roxanne Perez trying to worm her way and weasel her way into the Judgment Day. Liv, very hesitant, very not on board with it. Raquel, even less so. Finn, all sorts of about it. What you could do is, let's just say, for the argument's sake, Liv Morgan is not able to go for Evolution and can't compete. Well, all of a sudden, she's got to figure out what to do. I got to find somebody to take on Nikki Bella. Roxanne steps in and says, oh, don't worry. I got you. I'll take your place. And Liv says, no, that's not what I want to do. And Roxanne doesn't listen, walks away, inserts herself, plays into the whole storyline.
I mean, they could do that. It will be one to watch involving Nikki now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would not doubt, under said circumstances, that they don't put Charlotte in there with her, or they go for.
There is history there,
right? So, like I say, they might go that route.
Nikki held, what was it, the longest Divas Championship title reign until Charlotte beat it right at the end.
Yeah,
if memory serves, I could be wrong.
It's around there, so they could do something with that, and that's a quick storyline fix. For an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But like we say, as of right now, we don't know the extent of Liv's injury.
True.
Or how long she's out for.
True.
So, like we say, our thoughts and well wishes go out to her, and hopefully it's a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
And then going back to the tournament, it's wide open right now.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, I'm going to go with the winner of Roxanne and Jade.
Uh-huh.
I would not doubt Roxanne wins, and I would not doubt we have Roxanne versus Asuka.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
Like, this is a huge spotlight for Roxanne, but she's called the Prodigy for a reason. And I fully think that with how she's been getting pushed as she's been on the main roster, well deserved, by the way, I think I would not doubt seeing her win. Mm-hmm. But I would say if they really want to do something with the storyline and Naomi now with Money in the Bank, I wouldn't doubt Jade having that, and she's on the cusp of winning whatever title she's going for, and that's when Naomi cashes in.
Could be.
So we'll have to wait to see how that all plays out. And overall for wrestling, I mean, it was kind of pretty stat quo. It wasn't really anything too crazy. We alluded to the Goldberg match being signed.
Yeah.
So that is going to be happening. That is a thing. And I think for everything else is pretty much just kind of building towards Night of Champions and where we're going with that.
We do have an update. So according to PW Insider, Liv Morgan's dislocated shoulder will require surgery.
Oh.
And she's going to be out of action for up to 6 months.
Oh, that's too bad.
So that's the reports right now. Could be wrong in 5 minutes. We'll see.
Yeah, so definitely something to keep an eye on for, but we'll have a lot more to talk about that as the weeks are going on. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, though, hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. Night of Champions, a lot of storylines are heading into that weekend, but who you got winning the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments? Let's talk about it, shall we? And for even more wrestling talk, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join Rich and Sammy as they break down the world of pro wrestling on YouTube for Wrestling Night Live. That all said, we're going to get a breakout. We'll be right back.
Do you like comic books?
What about movies and TV shows?
Well, we may be the show for you.
We're Hops Geek News, a weekly podcast that discusses comics, movies, and TV shows while featuring a beer of the week.
Every week we chat about what we messed up on the week before, and then we dive into what we're reading and watching, as well as some news.
We then wrap it up with a geek-themed topic of the week.
You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts by searching Hops Geek News.
Cheers.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, be sure to check out nerdinitiative.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. And we have to preview a long-awaited show coming to Disney Plus.
No kidding.
Next week as we are recording, debuting 3 episodes on June 24th. Mm-hmm. The latest from Marvel Studios, Ironheart. Mm-hmm. So Dominique Thorne is reprising her role as Riri Williams, last seen in Wakanda Forever. Joining her on this new show is going to be Anthony Ramos playing Parker Robbins, a.k.a. The Hood, if you know the comics. Mm-hmm. And is going to be following about Riri's adventures now being back home in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that we're going to be talking about. The trailer has come out. There's been a very big media push, which I love seeing by Marvel. Really hyping this up. A great Good Morning America interview that took place with Dominique and Anthony stopping by because Robert Downey Jr. crashed.
Hey.
And obviously gave the blessings on it, so you definitely want to go check that out. So what we decided to do is they're going to be breaking down the show in 3 episodes per day again. So only 2 weeks of the show. We'll
Disney, I hate this format.
Yeah, we're not fans of that. So how we're going to cover it, we're not sure yet, but obviously we are going to cover it because we're going to talk about it.
TBD.
Yeah, because the 3-in-1 is a lot to process.
Oh, yeah.
So we might go 2-2-2. We'll see about it.
We'll see.
We'll come up with something for it. Either way, though, we are supporting the show. We we are going to talk about it, so we're going to kind of give you our thoughts and predictions about this. I guess we should say this is going to be a little mix of spoiler talk and spoiler free. So going off the trailers and what we know, that's the information we have. We have not seen anything in ahead of time. So that being said, Pad, what is your expectations for the show, about the trailer, what you've seen so far? What's jumping out at you?
You know, my expectations are kind of, I don't really have that many expectations, but I'm also eagerly anticipating what we see, because we've been waiting for this show for a while. Because flashback to December 2020 was when Kevin Feige first announced that Ironheart would be coming, you know, and then filming didn't start until what is it, in sometime in 2022. May 2022 was when filming took place in Chicago. And then it wrapped up filming by October of that same year. This is all according to the Wikipedia page. It wrapped up filming by October, or late October, early November. And then post-production was done in 2024. So this show has been done and in the can for over a year now.
Right.
So at the same time, like, I don't have that many expectations, because, you know what, I'm not super familiar with the character outside of what I've seen on, you know, on film and on TV. You know, I haven't read all that many comics involving Riri Williams. So I'm not going, oh, I can't wait to see this moment, I can't wait to see that moment. But at the same token, though, I'm anticipating, just because this is, as far as I can remember, the longest development to release period we've had for a Marvel show since they started doing, you know, the movies.
Well, you have to remember, Bob Iger came back to Disney.
Yeah.
And Iger had a plan about what he wanted to do, kind of restructuring a little bit, because there was an argument about superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
And with this show, this was grouped in with a bunch of other shows. We were kind of waiting to hear what was going on. And Riri, we saw debut, like we touched upon, in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie, where, if you're not familiar with the character, she is a genius inventor. She makes a suit that is one like Iron Man.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of a morally conflicted character, because, I mean, she's doing some things for what she sees as the greater good for her. And she's kind of developing her own hero sense. So, like I say, her path is very different than Tony Stark. And where we're seeing her now, I think there's a lot to kind of really get invested with. But like you touched upon, this show was announced way back when, and it's been a long wait to kind of see how everything played out. And I think with how Marvel has been going about their projects as of late, they're really trying to get back to spacing them out to feel like an event.
Less is more.
Well, it has worked in the past. I mean, we have to remember, coming out of the COVID year, we had so much saturation with it, which was awesome for us as fans, because we had something new every week.
Yeah.
But that does wear thin on an audience that is pop culture, that when it becomes the norm, it becomes less cool, if that makes sense. We had a lot of that from outside the comic realm. Yeah. That people were going, oh, it's another Marvel movie, and it's going to make $1 million.
Well, and especially when you're doing these multi-episode releases every week.
Right.
You know, it just, when you factor in everything else people have going on in their lives, it's a lot to ask people to sit there and watch, you know, however many shows each week when you're dropping 2 episodes, 3 episodes for like 3 different shows.
Yeah. So when they're restructuring now with Kevin Feige and company, and really kind of getting back to basics, and granted, they had a pivot direction from the Kang multiverse saga to whatever we're going to get with Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday next year, or whenever that is coming out, because I know there's been the talk that's been pushed back.
Yeah.
Either way, things have been moving, to say the least. With this character, obviously, this is not a familiar character outside of her one appearance in Wakanda Forever.
Right.
We do know her in the comics as of late, because she's been getting a larger spotlight there. And like we've said on the show many times, this is all to set up for Young Avengers. And I still feel that that's going to be the play.
Oh, that's 100% going to play. I saw the thing the other day where, what was it, Haley Steinfeld was getting asked about Young Avengers, and she looked at Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige threw her like the biggest look of, don't say a word.
Well, we know that has been slowly brewing.
Or sorry, Haley Steinfeld, should I say Haley Allen now?
Thank you.
How is that working?
The Queen of Buffalo, yes.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Which, congratulations to her and Josh Allen for the nuptials. I don't think we ever publicly said that, but hey, here we are. But yeah, that's been something that's been brewing in the background for quite some time. So we know that is still on the books. However, they're going to try doing that, whether it's for Disney Plus, which I fully think it's going to be.
Probably.
I don't see it going to the big screen for that project, but I think for what they're trying to do here, they're still on track, and they can still test the audience and see about the interest for Young Avengers with this project. Because obviously, this has been one that fans have been excited about for quite some time. Ryan Coogler is still attached to this as executive producer. So the fan base is definitely excited because of what he's done in the Marvel Universe thus far. And to see this character now come in, and it's almost like a clean slate because nobody really knows what to expect except from what we've seen in the trailers. And what we've seen in the trailers has been a lot of her kind of coming to grips about what she has with her suit and what that means for her. And almost that tempting of fate because she is getting recruited by the Hood. And like we touched on in the comics, the Hood is a very, very unique character in his own right. Because, let's face it, when you're given powers by a Hood and there's a lot of evil magic involved, demons and such, it's going to be a little messy.
Well, and you also have to figure that they're in this season, 6 episodes, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
There's going to be a little bit of a probably subplot of her taking on a legacy she may not want, or she's trying to forge her own path. She's trying to do her own things. But let's face it, she's created something that is very similar to something that has been known the world and the universe over in that suit, which we as viewers know she's somebody different, but in universe, the people in that show there's going to be a large faction that probably aren't going to know the difference between her and Tony Stark and are going to look at it and go, oh my gosh, Tony Stark's back, and she's going to be taking on that legacy that she may not want.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of how she wants to define her legacy.
Yeah.
Plus, I also say this is going to be a very cool dynamic that
should be fun.
Well, we talk about in sports a lot of times, especially with the UFC.
Yeah.
Striking versus grappling.
Yeah.
This is magic versus science.
Yes.
And I don't think people are realizing that aspect of it, which is going to be really fun. And especially for what we see with Anthony Ramos' Parker Robbins. Because that character, it's kind of interesting how they're positioning him. Because in the comics at one point, he was the number one big bad at Marvel.
Yes.
There was a stretch time where he was the guy. And now not so much, but he's still a very important character. I think we last saw him in Werewolf by Night, the series that just came out with Jason Lowe writing.
Yes.
So to see now how this dynamic is going to mix in against Riri, I think is going to be something fans are not expecting, but it's going to be a very pleasant surprise. And is really going to show what her character is truly made of. And I think this is only going to elevate her more. And I even think with the shorter season, I don't mind this as much. I only mind that it's only going to be 2 weeks and 3 episodes per week. That's my only gripe I have with the show.
Don't like it.
Well, it's the problem that you have is I understand why they did it with Andor.
Sure.
I fully get it.
Yeah. Looking back, yeah.
Looking back, it makes sense because you want to do the years and all that jazz.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
You don't need to necessarily do this for a Marvel show.
It almost feels like they just want to get it out and get it over with.
Well, I think because they're not sure where they're going in the direction as far as Doomsday.
Right. I mean, because all we know of, at least in terms of release schedules, is Fantastic Four's coming out in, a month?
July, yep.
In a month. And then that's it for I got to look up the schedule, but that's the last major thing until Doomsday.
Well, as far as theatrical, yes. For Disney Plus, Wonder Man's in December. That's still slated to be going.
Right.
There's the Eyes of Wakanda animated series and Marvel's Zombies, which I believe is September and October without looking. We haven't talked about it in a while, but that's still 2 animated shows, and then we go back to live action with Wonder Man at December.
Eyes of Wakanda is currently slated for, and this is according to a Variety.com article, Eyes of Wakanda is slated for August 6th of 2025. Okay. Marvel Zombies is slated for sometime in October 2025. Money's on Halloween, just because, hey, makes sense.
Yeah.
Wonder Man is slated for December 2025. I wouldn't doubt it's sometime around Christmas, just because, hey, everyone's usually off of work and school by then. Then you've got Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which is currently slated for March of 2026. Then you've got Spider-Man Brand New Day, currently slated for July 31st of next year. And then you've got Avengers Doomsday, which is December 18th of 2026.
So that did get pushed back. So that is going to cause a lot of dynamic for Marvel to change. So like I say, they might be wanting to get this show out, not necessarily because of the show, but because of their plans overall.
And I should note this article is dated June 2nd of this year.
Yeah, so that is very, very up to date for where we are. But I think that's going to be the question of when the fans turn out and tune in for this.
Right.
Because if we have a great showing for this, which I fully think we're going to.
I would expect so.
I think that you're going to see a lot of fans wanting to see Young Avengers. We know we're not going to hear anything at San Diego Comic-Con concerning this.
Right, because at that point you're tipping your hand for what's going to happen after Doomsday.
Right, but this is where it kind of gets interesting because they announced they weren't coming, and then obviously Marvel Studios is not coming to San Diego Comic-Con for Hall H this year.
Right.
Then they announced the movie was getting pushed back.
Right.
So now it's kind of an interesting play where they have to now decide, okay, are we going to do anything before Doomsday, or are we just going to let it ride?
I say just let it ride because remember what happened after, what was it, Infinity War?
Oh, yeah.
Where Chadwick Boseman was getting asked about Black Panther 2. Like he was getting asked because they announced Black Panther 2 before Infinity War happened. Infinity War came out, and he's getting asked questions on the red carpet for stuff about Black Panther 2. He's like, oh, I don't know, my character's dead. I think they just want to avoid. It's not necessarily bad PR, just awkward.
Well, that's the whole thing. You don't want to have all the actors involved having to dodge those questions because they're going to get asked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as much as there's superhero fatigue, quote unquote, for pop culture, there is. Every actor is going to get asked because Marvel is still a big thing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's still a thing for pop culture. So they're going to get asked no matter what.
Yeah.
So with that being said, every project now is going to heighten that curiosity. Now with the big gap in between PR moments that they're going to do, because with no Hall H, as of right now, New York Comic-Con has not announced anything for it.
This is true.
And then we don't know about any other conventions that are going to be taking place between now and then that they would make an announcement involving that. And because I think the only time you're going to hear something maybe, and I stress this is a maybe, this is me just guessing, is after Fantastic Four.
It could be.
Because that's going to be the last project until we go into for next year for movies for Spider-Man
Brand New Day.
Yeah. So it is going to be an interesting point that they're going to have to do, but I think that puts a lot more pressure on the show, but it can handle it.
Yeah.
Because this one, if it does well, fans are going to want more of it. It's going to kind of kickstart the Young Avengers talk.
Yeah.
Or depending on where they want to send Riri, it will really kickstart that character. If the show doesn't do well, it's just going to be all eyes now get shifted over towards Avengers.
The other thing we can't forget is Sacha Baron Cohen is in the show, at least reportedly, in some capacity. We don't know what role it is, but, well, you can probably guess what everyone's been fan casting him as.
Well, it would make sense if they're going to try explaining the Hood and his origin. And if Sacha Baron Cohen is actually Mephisto,
which is the name everyone's been saying for how many years now?
Well, considering, which I'm kind of very shocked that actually really took fire as much as it did, no pun intended.
I think it took fire and then it became a meme. It just became a running joke.
Well, I think at that stage, for wherever everybody thought the story was going to go. I mean, I thought when they did No Way Home.
Yeah.
I thought, okay,
that would have made sense.
That would have made a lot more sense, even though that would.
He's got a history with him, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only time you're ever going to do it. But I think for the character Mephisto, if they want to tie that into Hood's origin, you could. It would make it would be a lot easier to explain per se to the pop culture audience, in my opinion. So I could see them doing it. But other than that, I mean, that's why I say it's very interesting to see if they're going to actually do that. But if he is in that role, I don't doubt that is his character.
Yeah.
And where that goes, I don't know. There's a whole open door that we don't even know. But I think for where we need to go with the show, I think it's going to deliver on every front. I think you're going to have great performances from Ramos and Thorne. I think they're going to step up, and I think you're really going to see what Riri's all about. And I think that if you walk away with anything, it's going to be you want to see more of her, and you want to see more of her involving the Young Avengers, because that's where I think we're going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like I say, I don't necessarily would see her joining the Avengers,
right?
But I would say if they want to do the Young Avengers, that's a perfect fit. And we'll have to see if that winds up being on Disney Plus. We could see an announcement after the show's all said and done, per se.
Could be.
I think they're going to want to keep everything kind of low key though. Until after Fantastic Four.
Probably.
I would not doubt that something big happens news-wise after that's done.
The other one I'm excited for is Cree Summer, the actress and voice actress, is going to be in the show in some capacity, which, if you grew up in the 90s, look her up on IMDb and find me a show she's in that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Seriously, she is a prolific voice actress that's been in a ton of things. Probably best known for she was Susie Carmichael in Rugrats. Although she's been in, like I said, a whole bunch of other things. Animaniacs, Gargoyles, Freakazoid, Adventures of the Mask animated series, New Batman Adventures, Superman the animated series, Men in Black the series. Like, she's just been in a ton of things. So to see her get a little bit of shine in the MCU, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. Like I say, they've got a very interesting cast. Like I say, we don't know a lot of roles as we're recording.
No, we just know the two. Anthony Ramos and Dominique Thorne.
Yes, and Mr. Former Han Solo.
Oh, yeah. Alden Ehrenreich.
Yep, is playing
reportedly Joe McGillicuddy.
Yeah. So everything else is really keeping under wraps right now, which is fine, because this is where I want to see where this all winds up going.
Yeah.
Because this should be centered around Riri, her supporting family and cast, and really building her character up, and especially against a threat like the Hood. Because if you read the Hood stories when he was the #1 bad guy at Marvel,
yeah,
this is going to be a really good test to see where Riri fits in the MCU picture. And also with the Hood as well, because I think the only thing I don't want to see with this is the Hood is done. Like, he's killed off at the end of this.
Please, no.
Because we do too much of that in the MCU, and that's so telegraphed. It's just defeating the purpose. I wouldn't mind to see, like, if he gets taken away, or maybe at the end Mephisto grabs him or something for that.
I'd be all right with that.
Like, that's fine. If you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. Especially when it's going to be centering around both of them wanting more than they have, and that kind of struggle for power.
Maybe a portal opens, you see a metal gloved hand come in, rip him back.
You might, like I say, it's wide open what they want to do for this, but I think it's going to be very well done. I am excited about this. I think for 3 episodes in one day, that's my only gripe. Everything else about this trailer looks great, and I think it's going to win the pop culture audience over.
Hopefully.
Any final thoughts, Pat?
Excited to see it. Like, I'm with you. I don't like the 3-episode release thing, but I'll make do. But I'm excited to see where this goes and kind of where things lie after it's all said and done.
Young teenage, or a college student, rather, should I say, with an armor suit, taking on a mythic or magical crime boss up and coming. Sign me up.
Absolutely.
Like I said, this is all going to be a big bucket of win. So I'm excited to see this, and I think you should too. And Ironheart kicks off next week as we're recording June 24th. 3-episode premiere on Disney Plus. But in the meantime, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. What are you excited about for Ironheart? Are you excited? Let's talk about it, because Marvel Studios' latest live action show definitely has got the fans talking. So let's talk about it, shall we? We're going to get one last breakout. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna...
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. We got a lot of them. So, Pat, it's one-shot time. What you got?
Got to talk a little bit of local minute. We got to look at the some news for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, because they have clinched the first half title and have therefore clinched a spot in the postseason.
Let's ride.
So this will be the second time in the last 3 seasons and the 13th time in franchise history that Binghamton will be entering the postseason. So congratulations to them. They also did announce an upcoming little promotional series, a little upcoming concert series of sorts going on here at the Nice Egg Stadium. And it is Baseballs and Brews at the ballpark. So the article on their website reads, the Binghamton Rumble Ponies and Visions Federal Credit Union are excited to announce the post-game Bands and Brews concert series coming to Marabito Stadium following select home games during the 2025 seasons. The Bands and Brews concert series will take place following the Rumble Ponies games on June 28th, July 12th, August 30th, and September 13th. All 4 games are scheduled to start at 6:07 p.m., with the concert taking place immediately following the completion of the game. So you've got those dates announced, and we do know the bands or singers that are taking place at those concerts. So the June 28th game, a local band by the name of Frostbit Blue. So they got that going on. July 12th is singer, musician, and songwriter Ali Tortoro, local musician. And then you've got August 30th is Caviar and Grits. They are an R&B flair singer-songwriter group that is, quote, ready to bring soul to the game on August 30th. So they got that going on. And then the last and certainly not least on September 13th is Wild Card. They are, quote, playing the hits from the 70s to today with lead singer Alyssa Crosby in our final Visions Federal Credit Union Bands and Brews Group of the Year. Wild Card, Alyssa is a staple of the local music scene and most known for being on NBC's The Voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you got that going on. Looking at the standings for the Eastern League AA division, another week, Binghamton handedly in first place.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Good God, it ain't even close. Like, wrap it up. It's like the 98 Yankees. Wrap it up, folks. It's over. So the Binghamton Rumble Ponies currently in first place with a record of 42-20. Hartford Yard Goats, the Colorado Rockies affiliates, are in second place. They are 11 games behind the Rumble Ponies. Portland Sea Dogs, the Boston Red Sox affiliate, are also 11 games behind the Rumble Ponies. New Hampshire Fisher Cats, they're the Toronto Blue Jays affiliates. They are 13.5 games behind the Rumble Ponies. Somerset Patriots, the Yankees affiliate, are also 13.5 games behind the Rumble Ponies. And the Reading Fightin' Phils are in last place with they are 18 games behind the Rumble Ponies. So, well, folks, it might be over. Looking at their schedule from this past week, they were, of course, on the road playing Harrisburg. They had a game on Tuesday where they lost that one by the final score of 7-3. No, excuse me. That's where they are this week. They were on the road playing Richmond last week. They won the game on Tuesday by the final score of 2-1. Lost the game on Wednesday by the final score of 5-2. Won the game on Thursday by the final score of 11-0.
Wow.
Won the game on Friday by the final score of 6-5. Won on Saturday by the final score of 8-2, and then somehow tied on Sunday. I'm not quite sure how that happened. They tied 4-4 on Sunday. So reasons. And then they are on the road this week. They got a series going on in Harrisburg. They lost the game on Tuesday, 7-3. The remainder of the games, they got a game Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursday is at 12 noon Eastern. Friday is at 7 o'clock Eastern. Saturday is at 6 o'clock Eastern. And then Sunday is at 1 o'clock Eastern. They return home next week, starting on June the 24th, to play a home series against the Portland Sea Dogs. So for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com. Then we got to talk a little bit of NBA news because there's some breaking NBA news.
Yes.
Huge NBA news. So this is according to one Shams Charania, the ESPN NBA insider. Headline on this: Buss family agrees to sell the Lakers to Mark Walter at, you want to take a guess?
It's got to be some billions.
10 of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
$10 billion valuation.
I was going to say 7, but damn, wow.
Yeah. So the article does read in part, quote, the Buss family is entering into an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter at a valuation of approximately $10 billion.
Insane.
Sources told ESPN. It will mark the largest sale of a U.S. professional sports team all time. Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in her role as Lakers governor, sources said. Walter, the CEO and chairman of Diversified Holding Group, TWG Global, has interests in multiple professional sports organizations, including the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Sparks, the Billie Jean Cup, Cadillac Formula One team, and the Professional Women's Hockey League. The Lakers have been owned by the Buss family since 1979, when Jerry Buss purchased the franchise from Jack Kent Cooke in a $67.5 million transaction that also included the Los Angeles Kings and the Los Angeles Forum. Since 1980, the Lakers have won 11 championships, the most by any NBA team during that span. The Lakers passed to Buss's children when he died in 2013, and his daughter Jeannie has served as the Lakers governor since, close quote.
Well, that is shocking.
It's a lot of money,
to say the least. Well, you know what? If it's going to be anything like the Lakers, the Yankees, the Cowboys, you know, any of the historic franchises that you see everywhere, whether you love them or you hate them, they're everywhere. That was going to go for some billions. I am shocked to see it, but we'll have to see how the new ownership does, because obviously there are high expectations in LA.
It's like the Yankees, like the Cowboys, like the pick your high value franchise, championship or bust.
Yes. I mean, I don't think it's anything like Oklahoma City or Indiana.
Oh, no.
Because we do have that going on. Obviously, the finals are stacking up. Oklahoma City is one game away from silencing everybody out. They have been on a roll as of late.
Oh, my Lord, yeah.
So we're going to kind of briefly go over this. The last couple games, Indiana has just not played like itself.
No.
And the Thunder has showed up. Game 4, they showed up 111 to 104. And then Game 5... 120 to 109.
Well, and the whole Halliburton thing doesn't help.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, the star guard for the Pacers, is out with an injury to his leg. He is a game-time decision as we're recording.
He's going to play as best he can.
He's going to play best he can, but listen, this is a wrap. Oklahoma City is already favored by 5 going to Indiana.
Oh.
I think they understand that this is now or never. If this goes to a Game 7, I don't like their odds.
No.
I really,
especially with Halliburton not at 100%.
Oh, not at all. I really don't like this at all.
Yeah.
So they're going to be hurting as much as anybody could be without their star guard. And on the flip side, when you're getting 40-point performances out of Jalen Williams, SGA is dropping 31.
Good Lord.
And your bench and Alex Caruso, even though he had 2 points, the defensive things he's doing, steals 4.
Yeah.
He is doing everything he can to make sure this team is clicking at all points.
Yeah.
This is going to be near impossible to beat.
I wonder how the time traveler from 2005 is going to feel.
Yeah.
You saw he was there.
Yeah. It's wild to think about, but still, we're seeing this happen. And for Indiana, I mean, Siakam's doing all he can do. Last game, he scored 28. He was the lead scorer for them. But, you know, you can't rely on TJ McConnell to bail you out.
Yeah.
And Obi Toppin. Like, you need your stars to show up.
Works in a video game, not
Right.
in real life.
Halliburton did not have a great game before the injury happened.
And then the injury happened.
Yeah, and the injury happened. So, I mean, I think, listen, they put up a good fight for what it was. I'm not going to take anything away from Indiana. I doubt they're going to win at home just because the deck is too stacked against them.
Yeah.
I think we have to be realistic about this.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City is now clicking. This is the team that I thought was going to sweep them at one point. They're now looking the part.
Yeah.
And I think now they understand it's now or never. Because if it goes to a Game 7, I would actually favor the Pacers.
Oh, okay.
I really would. But I think Oklahoma City knows the pressure of this.
They're not going to take their foot off the gas.
They can't.
There's no chance.
They can't. They're going to definitely have to show up. They're going to have to show out. Like I say, Game 4 I thought was a prime example of that, especially being away. I think they understand this. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm like I say, I wouldn't doubt like a 7-point win.
Could be
7 or 8, something around there.
Yeah.
But I think they win. I think Oklahoma City does it. And then, obviously, then we go to the offseason and the NBA draft. And then, I mean, the season doesn't really stop, but I'm okay with that.
It really doesn't.
Speaking of seasons that are stopping, Pad, we will acknowledge very quickly the NHL season is over. Florida Panthers defeated the Edmonton Oilers.
Boston Bruins fans, how weird is it to see Marchand hoist a trophy in Florida colors?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
They're not handling it well. I'm not handling it well because let's face it, we are a biased New York Rangers podcast.
Yeah, we are.
Any day of the week. So
yeah, we are.
Florida going completely crazy on the Oilers. When you're putting up games like 6-1 in Game 3, 5-2 in Game 5, and then hell, they were up 4-0 in Game 6.
Dear Florida, this appears to be a little too easy for you. Have you tried upping the difficulty?
Yeah. Edmonton, for as great as they have, Connor McDavid and everybody there.
That Canadian curse.
Listen, something's up and they just can't do it. And
Canada has not won a Stanley Cup in 32 years now?
Yeah. Connor McDavid just, I don't know. Yeah. He's doing everything he can, but everybody else is... Oof.
He ain't Superman. He can't do it by himself.
No. So, congratulations. The season is over. Now we can talk Rangers. Very quickly, because I'm just going to address this, we re-signed Matt Rempe.
Yeah, for what, just under $2 million?
Yep.
I'm all right with that.
I'm perfect with that.
Yeah.
There has been talk about some parts moving out of New York. Obviously, we know that Chris Kreider is in Anaheim. I don't love the move, but
I get why, but I don't like it.
I'm right there with you. He should have been captain over Trouba. But to kind of put out some other fires, there has been a lot of fan speculation that Mika Zibanejad was going to be traded.
I heard some of that, yeah.
Mike Sullivan, the new head coach, flew to Sweden to go talk to him.
Oh, Jesus.
Mika does not want to go. I don't think there was ever any talk of him going. I think he went there to meet up with him and kind of get an idea of his headspace. Mika is staying put as of right now. The other two players that I've been hearing possibly moving is Lafreniere,
right?
Which jury is out on. I don't think so. I think he's, for being the number 1 draft pick, I think their expectations are too high on him. And I think that last season we saw glimpses, but we didn't see the number 1 pick show up.
Right.
But I do think one player that is on his way out the door is Keandre Miller.
Could be.
I think Sullivan and the brass at Blue Shirt Nation are not high on him. I don't think he's panned out as much as they'd hope
Let's
he
say
did.
there were a lot of expectations. I don't think he's met them.
No, not at all.
Let alone he ain't exceeded them. That's for sure.
No, but I will say this. I think as of right now, Mika stays.
I hope so.
If the coach flew out to Sweden to go talk to him.
Yeah, you're not exactly flying a dude out there just to say, hey, we're going to trade you.
Yeah. I think he went out there to kind of see how he's going to fit in, talk to him, kind of get the vibe.
Well, and also depending on when those rumors started, it could have been to quash those rumors.
Yeah, well, I think so too. Which, I mean, I don't think we have another Truba situation where Mika is going to fight, because I know, I believe Mika's wife posted on Instagram they just bought a house
Oh, yeah.
in New York, so like they're more than happy where they are. There's not anything that they want to leave.
Right.
So if that's the situation, like I think everybody's just kind of speculating because Kreider left. Mm-hmm. But I think you have a new head coach in. He's got a system.
Yeah.
Let's see what works.
Yeah.
And right now the offseason starts. So congratulations, Florida. You're now on the clock because the Cup is coming back to New York next season.
Lord, I hope so.
Yeah. So that said, the only other sports thing I had, Pat, was the UFC was going on this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a couple things to mention from the fight night that went down. Kamaru Usman came back
Yeah.
in a big way.
Saw that.
Defeated Joaquin Buckley in the main event of the fight night. Decision, though.
Unanimous. 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47.
So don't really know where this goes for him. For Usman, I mean, he's kind of in a weird phase, I will say.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, but he did show up. And for Buckley, bad loss because he was on the rise, but we'll kind of see where he pans out. And then the co-main event was Thug Rose at flyweight. So she won via decision over Miranda Maverick.
Unanimous. Two judges, 30-27. The third, 29-28.
So I will take that all day. I thought that, I mean, Thug Rose is really kind of coming to her own in that weight class. I know the other one that I just want to touch upon briefly was in the preliminary card. And this was the Paul Craig Rodolfo
Bellato.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this was a draw because of an up kick.
No contest and an illegal up kick.
Yeah, which I'm going to say this. In my opinion, I have seen the replay numerous times. What do you call an MMA flopping? Because in my opinion...
I just saw the photo. I haven't seen the video. I'll have to look that up.
If you watch the video after the kick happens, it looks, and this is my opinion, and you can go call it up as I'm talking, Bellato hits, he looks at the ref, and then he kind of falls back, and then he's quote-unquote out. I don't necessarily believe this. I kind of sat there, I was like, okay, was it an illegal kick? Yes, I will admit that.
Even Paul Craig has admitted it.
Right, but I think for the decision and then kind of how the flop job happened, I think it got over there. Like I say, being a no contest, I'm perfectly fine with that, but under the said situation, but man, that is not a thing that I am encouraging by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, that's not exactly LeBron level flopping, but
okay, you're watching the footage now.
yeah, I'm watching it now. Like that's not exactly LeBron level flopping, but boy, it ain't good.
But you see right there when he gets hit, he kind of does that quick pause from guard, and then he kind of looks, and then he drops down.
Yeah.
When that happens, that's kind of the weird thing. It's a split second.
He might have been out, though, because, like, I'm looking at it, and you go and you watch it. Like, so he does the up kick, he drops, and then he just kind of lays there for a minute, and then right at the left side of the camera, he just kind of jerks like he's, like, jerks awake and starts moving.
See,
he might have been out.
I don't know. See, I kind of puzzle that a little bit. Because, like I say, when he's in that guard position and he's standing with, top position, and then when Craig hits him, it's a split second.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
But you see him look, and then he drops. Like,
right.
So, I mean, is it delayed reaction? I don't know. In my opinion, though, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
he seems like he was out of it, like he didn't know what the hell was going on, because he comes to, like I said, he jerks, he comes to, and then he starts backing up against the cage, like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. If you really want to go down a fun rabbit hole on Twitter, search about the fighter comments concerning this.
Oh boy,
I'm just gonna say that the fun part of Twitter.
Yeah.
So we'll go for that, but. For UFC Fight Night, like I say, a very solid one. Obviously, this weekend, Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree is going to be your main event.
It's on ABC.
Yep, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because I believe that this one is over
overseas, yeah.
Yes. So make sure you watch in where you need to for that. And then we're obviously 2 weeks away from UFC 317. Enough said there. So now I'm going to flip things to the entertainment side, Pat. What you got?
A couple things we got to mention. First of which, I am super excited. We finally got our official trailer for the upcoming 17th season for It's Always Sunny. in
Has it
Philadelphia.
been that long?
Longest running comedy show on television, or whatever the hell the statistic
Over The
is.
Simpsons?
Whatever. There's some statistic. They're the longest running something of
Okay.
in history. Season 17 dropping July 9th on FXX, will be available the next day on Hulu. Trailer is absolute insanity. Cannot wait to see it. If you've been watching all the seasons or you're catching up, there will be some familiar faces making appearances. Probably most notably in the one episode I can't wait to see this season is Frank is going to be on The Golden Bachelor.
That looks wild.
And it looks like they filmed it at the Golden Bachelor. Jesse Palmer is there, the studio audience, it's at the actual house set, whatever the hell they call that thing. Oh my Lord, it looks wild. I cannot wait to watch that. I love Always Sunny. And if you have not seen it, go watch it. It is a fantastic show.
It is a trip. I will say that.
Then we got some more television news. Finally announced the season 2 has begun production for a show I just recently watched with my wife. Highly recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it. It's all episodes are on Max, HBO Max, whatever it is. And that is The Pit season 2.
All right. I've heard about this.
Yep. So if you're not familiar, this was done by some of the folks who did ER back in the day, but it's got them going. Noah Weil, who was on ER, is the main character in this show. Takes place in a fictional hospital set in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and these are the people who work in the emergency room. Now, if you're thinking, oh God, I don't need another Grey's Anatomy shot. This ain't Grey's Anatomy. Not by any stretch. This is, from what I've read and what I've seen doctors and emergency room folks say, the most accurate medical drama on television right now in terms of what they show is what they do in the emergency room. Also, the wild thing with this is the season takes place during a single day of their shift. So each episode is an hour of their shift. Season 1, fantastic. Season 2 announced that it's going to be slated to debut in January 2026. They've just started production. We do know when this day will be taking place. 4th of July.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to get all sorts of wild. Cannot wait for it. And like I said, season 1, if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah, a lot of praise has been coming for the show. I'm behind on it. It's like to actually start it, but I definitely want to.
Then we got a trailer that admittedly, when they announced this, I was skeptical. I'm like, do we really need a sequel to this? Watch the trailer, and you know what? God damn it, no, I'm on board. That would be The Naked Gun, starring Liam Neeson in 2025. Listen, I don't want to give anything of this away. Just go watch the trailer. The trailer is absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see this come out. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, Liam Neeson does the original version justice. The trailer looks hilarious. It's good to see comedy getting back to that kind of
slapstick.
Yeah, I want to say, to that golden era per se, where just, comedy is meant to be funny.
Yeah, Liam Neeson plays Leslie Nielsen. God, that's gonna be a tongue twister. Plays his son from the franchise. I will say the only thing I will give away that another moment that really, because we talked about one off air, another moment that really sold me is he's going to talk to somebody in the interrogation room, and he says to her, "Oh, why don't you take a seat?" And she goes, "Oh, thanks." And she just picks up the seat and walks out of the room. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible.
It's just that kind of timeless humor that goes in. Like I say, when they just don't worry about, getting memed or your gift or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be about. So I'm excited about this.
Then we got some more Hunger Games casting news because apparently the budget didn't run out on the casting department.
Oh my God.
So 2 more casting announcements that caught my eye. The first of which is Billy Porter is going to be joining the role. He will take on the role of Mango Stift. And then he is going to be apparently a dispassionate designer for the contestants. The other one is going to be an actor a lot of folks know, Glenn Close.
Oh, really?
This cast is insane. I don't know where they got the budget for the cast on this movie, but it's insane. A couple more casting announcements for a movie that I don't even think has started filming yet, but you got to figure it's got to be starting soon.
It's got to be starting soon. That's the one thing about it. I'm not sure how they do, but we'll definitely have to keep an eye out for it. Before we get into comic picks to close out everything, a couple press releases coming over to us from our fine friends over at Marvel Comics. One of which definitely has got Pat's attention, has got my attention. Because they have announced that there's 2 new comic series coming via the Star Wars universe.
Yup.
Star Wars Boba Fett Black, White, and Red, and Star Wars Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon are both dropping in September. So obviously, if you're not familiar with the Black, White, and Red series, this is one where
It's literally in black, white, and red.
it is, but it's more mature readers.
Oh, yeah.
So this is not one for the squeamish. So obviously seeing the king of all bounty hunters get his proper due on this, I am excited for it. I know tagged to the project already is Benjamin Piercy, and the cover by Alex Malev. Pat, I'm just showing you this.
It's so good.
That's so damn good. And then for Han Solo, The Hunt for the Falcon, Rodney Barnes is on the writing duties. That's a must-read. And Roman Rosanis is on the art duty. So both of which are slated to drop in September, like we alluded to. The Han Solo series is slated for September 3rd, where Boba Fett is slated for September 17th. All of which are definitely ones I definitely have on the radar. And then another one that just came in late, and this one definitely caught my eye.
Oh, baby.
So J. Michael Straczynski is coming back to Spider-Man in a brand new 5-issue series entitled Amazing Spider-Man Torn. So this is going to be slated to drop in October. Perez is on the art duty. And this is one, according to the press release, is set in Peter's college days at ESU with Harry, MJ, Flash, and Gwen.
Nice.
So this is going to be something borrowing a little bit from the past and present. If you know about JMS's run on Spider-Man, it is highly, highly valued and obviously did a lot of very cool things in that one. Also, a couple points that I know some fans definitely have not forgotten about either. So,
oh boy,
it is exciting to see him come back. I'm a big JMS fan, so I definitely am going to be checking this one out when it drops in October. So there's a lot more that's going to be happening with that. So definitely keep your ears out for that. But like we alluded to, it's comics, so it's new comic book day. Pat, what you picking up?
I'm going to recommend the 2 issues I reviewed for Nerd Initiative this week. The first is number 1 issue. This is Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent number 1 from Cherish Chen. You got Gabriel Guzman on artwork. This is Out from the Shadows of Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra Returns, an all-new ongoing series featuring the rogue archaeologist as she makes her way through the galaxy and in the era of the New Republic. Aphra must team up with Luke Skywalker to track down a rare artifact, and what will she do when her tattoos no longer function? Great issue. Great first start. I'm interested to see where this goes because it sets it up in such a way that could be leading to some interesting storylines. We'll see where it goes. And then lastly, certainly not leastly, one of the best lines Marvel's got going right now. There's like at least 3 of them I can think of. But this one, near the top of the list, if it ain't at the top of the list. Ultimates issue number 13 from Dennis Camp. This one reads, quote, "The second year of the Ultimates starts here. Time is of the essence, and no one knows that better than Iron Lad. With the makers set to be released in 6 months, it's time to kick off new, more daring actions. Enter Ultimates 3.0. So this one, not necessarily action-packed from start to finish like you might think, but I feel like once you read this, you'll understand what I say is I feel like they're going to be opening Pandora's box on this one. And once you open Pandora's box, you ain't closing it back up. For as many issues as this is going to solve, it's going to cause probably about 6 more issues as a result of this. Once you read the issue, you'll understand. I'll tell you off air what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to see where the things go from here because, boy, they're going to be setting up a lot.
I mean, Dennis Camp is arguably comics best writer right now. A lot of high profile stuff he's doing. Ultimates definitely is making a lot of headway amongst the fans and definitely a lot of buzz for Marvel Comics. So you definitely want to check that out. Kicking off my poll list, it seems like it's large every week, and rightfully so, because there's so much great books to grab. Kicking off, though, Superman Unlimited number 2, Dan Slott, Rafael Albuquerque. So this is following the emergence of Kryptonite is now on Earth and in an abundance because of this asteroid the Superman stopped. And this kind of follows up about what has happened in that time period with the emergence of El Caldero, I apologize, the new city of Kryptonite and its president Castillo. There's a lot of moving parts happening in this one. A cameo from a very, very troublemaking DC character shows up and causes more problems for Superman. So you just kind of have to watch and see with that one. But if you're liking what you've seen thus far in this series, this one is definitely one to keep an eye out for. One of my favorite series out there, but I love the classic takes. Batman and Robin Year One. Mark Waid, Chris Samney, and this is how the hunt for the dynamic duo is still on from General Grimaldi. and how he's going through trying to find out who Batman is. And now the fight comes really close to home, if you will. But this is a classic series. This is perfect. Like, I have really enjoyed the series since issue 1. Can't recommend it enough. One of my surprise series of the year, I got to admit, New Gods number 7. So this is Ron V and Evan Cagle. Travis Moore is the guest artist, and the one thing they've been doing is they've had a guest artist appear for first couple of pages in the book. For whatever reason, like they're just doing that to kind of do some things with storyline, and then they go right into Cagle's art. And like this book, if you've been following, there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening in the disappearance of Darkseid from the regular DC universe. And the New Gods are now on Earth, and obviously there's a crew waiting for them known as the Justice League.
No, I'll say nothing bad can happen from the New Gods being on Earth.
No, but this one is like I say, the take that Ron V is doing with this, I really like. And I'll admit, I've never been the biggest New Gods fan, if you will. Like,
sure. I'll say it's documented on this show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one that has never clicked with me, but I like the take that he's doing here. There's very little that I don't like about the series.
Right.
I will say this, but I do recommend it, especially if you want to get into the universe, because I know that they have now announced a Mr. Miracle animated series is coming.
Yes.
So that one, if you haven't read that series, I highly recommend that. The Tom King, Mitch Gerrard's series will blow your mind. It deserves all the hype it is. I don't care if you're not a huge Tom King fan. That series will win you over. That is how damn good it is.
That's high praise.
Oh, my God, yeah. And I do like Tom King's writing.
Right.
And Gerrard's is always, very closely tied to him. But that's the series that made them both superstars, in my opinion. So you got to roll with it. So that said, I'm switching gears to Image Comics, Skybound Entertainment. Big week for them this week.
Oh, yeah?
Invincible Universe, Battle Beast number 2, Robert Kirkman, Ryan Otley. This is more of the same. It's Battle Beast doing Battle Beast things. But listen, you got to go with the long game here. Obviously, if you know the character very well from the show on Amazon Prime Video, you know that there's a lot going on with him. If you read the comic, obviously, you know there's a lot happening there. So, one, it'll definitely be pleasing to fans. Also, G.I. Joe number 8, Energon Universe. This one, definitely an interesting take that Joshua Williamson is doing. Coming out of the big story arc, it's kind of been like a rebuilding. Andrea Milana is on the art, and this one is kind of focusing on the Baroness.
Okay.
And obviously the Baroness is with Team G.I. Joe at this point. But obviously there's a few skeletons in the closet, and one, as you can see on the cover pad, has a little bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
We'll just leave it at that. But obviously Skybound Entertainment doing big, big things. Also returning since 2021 pad, Boom Studios. The Last Witch, Blood and Betrayal, number 1. So this one is Connor McCreary, Vivi Glass. This is one that is up your alley.
Okay.
So this is the continuation of the Last Witch story that, like I alluded to, was in 2021. We had Connor on Turn a Page last week. Great interview if you're going to check it out. I mean, his sports take's phenomenal. We might have him on the ODPH to talk sports.
Nice.
He has volunteered to come back on. He wants to do it, so we're going to make that happen at some point.
Baseline question. How does he feel about the Astros?
He hates the Astros.
All right. I'm on board.
Yeah. But this is one that this is a fantasy adventure story, and really you have to read the first story to really get the full justice of it.
Okay.
But this is one that, like I say, if you like that kind of Disney vibe, but it's more serious tone, this is one that is, I mean, like we're talking about sorcery, we're talking about, it has heart, it has so many moving parts going on. I believe it was referred to as like Irish Avatar, the Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Kind of like that vibe, but with a lot more magic going on, because it does deal with Irish mythology, just to kind of explain.
All right.
Very dope series. Like I say, I read the first sitting, first volume. I can't recommend it enough. Like I say, and I'm not somebody that reads a lot of that kind of vibe. This one won me over, and issue number 1 here of Blood and Betrayal, definitely one you don't want to miss if you really dig that vibe. Also, Detective Comics 1098. So Tom Taylor, Lee Garrett is on the art for this. And this is doing the fallout from what's happened with Asema, and this is now dealing with the organization known as Elixir. Weird Bedfellows. Pat, I'm showing you the cover.
What the hell?
Exactly. So Tom Taylor, like I say, one of my favorite authors, so definitely excited to see what he's doing here. Definitely one to check out. Over on the Marvel side of things, one book that's definitely making a lot of noise lately is Amazing Spider-Man. Joe Kelly is still on the book. John Romita Jr. is jumping on for the art. And this is starring, this one is kind of like a more story buildup. Obviously, a lot of things have been happening with issues 1 through 5 in the Hobgoblin, so this is kind of like a reset point.
Oh, okay.
But it's one that it works to kind of build in, and we're introduced to that new villain that we've been seeing the pictures of, Hellgate.
Oh, yeah.
So that is one that definitely Spider-Man fans will want to check out. Last but certainly not least, Bloodletter #1. So this is a new series coming out of the Spawn universe.
Uh-oh.
So Joseph Village, who we know from the Milestone universe, does fantastic stuff there too, by the way. Can't recommend that enough. Tim Seeley, Christian Rosando. This is dealing with a character that, let's just say, has a bone to pick with Al Simmons, and rightfully so. And this is one, like I say, if you're into Spawn, this is going to be one up your alley. I thought it was very cool. Kind of introduction of a new character that's really makes a lot of noise for a first issue. And like I say, the first couple pages are going to knock you out. Like, you're like, wait, what is going on here? So you definitely want to go check that out. And if you need more recommendations, Nerd Initiative is the place to be. I think as final tally, over 50 reviews between YouTube and the website, Pat.
Oof.
Nobody does New Comic Book Day quite like Nerd Initiative and the Nerd Initiative Bullpen. So definitely go check that out. And for anything else that we might have missed, ODPH Podcast is the place to be, because that's it for this week. So for the one and only Padawanje.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to us for 8 years and counting. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old-time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.